Hey guys, it's Kat, and this is season Kikis. We have a very small panel today, so I don't know how long we're gonna actually be on. So as usual, please leave your topics and things in the comment section. Let us know what you want us to talk about. I have a couple of topics. We have somebody new here today whose name is Julio, July. I don't know. It's not an American name. Um, I assume that the proper way to say it is Julio. Is that how you say it? I'm confused. I don't understand.
No, Kat, we went over this. It's pronounced Julio.
Yes, the O is yeah. I remember now. You have to put an emphasis on the O. Then suddenly it makes sense.
Emphasis.
An emphasis. Definitely. Definitely that. But yeah, introduce yourself since it's your first time like actually on the show.
Oh, hi guys, I'm Julio. I'm 31. I live in Knoxville. Don't stalk me.
Tennessee, right? It's Tennessee, right? Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yes.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever
seen, so.
I was gonna say I don't think I've ever met anybody from Tennessee.
I'm not from here. I just live here.
Or who lives in Tennessee? I don't know. Well, I mean, you're black, so are you black? What is your identity? What is your racial identity?
I'm Cuban, Chilean, Puerto Rican, Black, Irish, and Israeli. But
that's too complicated.
Yeah.
Could you say that again, perhaps a little bit slower, so that we can all write it down?
Write it down.
I don't want to misracial you. I would hate to do that. That would be bad.
I'm Cuban, Chilean, Puerto Rican, Black, Irish, and Israeli.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So that's actually part of my topic, but we'll get to it later maybe. Do you have a topic, Zeal? You said you had something prepared, so I think maybe you should go first. I know we have no topic.
I have something prepared. So like my topic is more like, okay, so here's the deal. Constantly throughout the show, I have been like, oh, here in Sweden, da 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 da. Oh, this thing in Sweden, da da da. And specifically when it comes to like racism and Islamophobia and stuff like that. So I figured like instead of constantly interrupting people and being like, hey, this happens in Sweden, I have prepared kind of like a mini presentation thing that I'm basically just gonna tell you very, very shortly, because if I would do it like properly, it would take me hours. But I'm going to tell you all a little bit about like racism, Islamophobia, and police violence, and a bunch of that stuff that's going on in Sweden, and just tell y'all what it's all about. And I might be, yeah, like I'm super white, guys. Like let's I do not have any like personal like experience from this, but like what happens daily is still something that like I feel that not a lot of people outside of Sweden know about, and I really feel like I need to tell people that this is happening, because even though it's not happening to me, it is happening to like my friends and my the people who live down the street from me. And I just really feel that it's important that people know that Sweden is really fucked up, not this socialist paradise that everyone seems to paint it as. But yeah, I'm just gonna start my little presentation that is not that really well prepared, but I'm just gonna go ahead. So, like, racism in Sweden, it's a long history. Like, for example, our biggest like a lot of people here in Sweden too believe that like, oh, Sweden didn't have slaves, da da da, but like Sweden's part in the slave trade was that we produced a lot of iron for the chains that were used on the slaves to bring them from Africa to other countries, and that is just as bad as hey, we didn't do anything, la la la, and he's just like, oh gosh, we really did do a lot of stuff, and I don't know, it's just like it's such a long history, so I'm just gonna start right like how the racism and Islamophobia that a lot of people face today in Sweden, how that came to be, and mainly like around 2006, the Sweden Democrats, really fucking fascist and Nazi party, started to gain a lot of popularity here in Sweden, talking about like, oh, all the immigrants are coming here and taking our jobs and blah 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 blah, and everyone's in the beginning, like since the 90s when they were founded, everyone's just been like treating them like, oh, they're fucking racist, yes, ignore them. But in 2006, people actually started to listen to them and agree with them, and they actually got into the Swedish parliament and has only gained power since the election 2006. Or I mean 2008. And it's just like, since they were starting to get treated as like a real party with just opinions, Islamophobia and racism and fucking, all that horrible shit like homophobia and sexism and blah 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 has been really more commonly accepted within the other parties. Like just recently, a lot of the other right-wing parties that are not as extreme have come out and been like, hey, we should not have more immigrants, or like, hey, people who are begging in the streets should go fuck themselves, like basically stuff like that. And and in recent years, more extreme Nazi parties that outright say like, hey, we fucking hate youth and people who believe that everyone should be equal, so fuck off. Like more and more parties like that have surfaced since 2006, 2008, and it's just kind of a horrifying situation because like it's nowadays it's very expected when a politician comes out and says something like, oh, we do not want panhandlers anywhere, like we should just fucking send them to jail, or we should make begging illegal and blah 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 blah. And this also plays into like the bigger problem with anti-Ziganism in Europe, that people, the Roma people, I think they're called that in English, I'm not certain, but I'm gonna say Roma people because that's what I think is the proper term.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you. Are constantly mistreated in Europe, and here in Sweden they also face, a lot of that. Like a lot of people are like, oh, we should send them back to Romania, and if you know anything about the Roma people, you know that they do not like to be, called Romanians or be lumped together with the Romanian people, and there's also this really big debate that's been going on for like fucking ever about there's this, I think I mentioned this before, but there's this like little sweet like bacon good that's basically like a chocolate ball, and it's fucking delicious, but for a really long time it was called N-word ball, and a lot of old white people still want to call it this, even though it's like, hey, maybe we should not call this baked good the N-word, and they're like, blah, 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 but it's back in this language, blah 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 blah. And you know, like Sweden is still on that level, like, well, this has always been this way, so why should we change it? And blah blah blah. And yeah, it's just a fucked up situation. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because earlier this week, a 9-year-old boy who came to Sweden alone with his friend, like no parents, he doesn't know the language, like this small Muslim boy came to Sweden, and he and his 12-year-old friend tried to ride a train without a ticket, and they were caught by safety guards, and of course they struggled because they did not understand anything. And then this 9-year-old boy, I'm just going to stress this really, this 9-year-old boy who did not understand the language and is probably scared out of his mind that this big man is yelling at him for not paying, gets pushed down on the ground by this man, gets sat on by this man, and then gets constantly pushed in the face and held down, pinned to the ground, and sat on by this big-ass security guard. And as he's being sat on, he constantly is, he's shouting and screaming, obviously in pain and fear, and he's saying this, apparently it's like one of the like, it's like a prayer, I think, in, that's like the last one you say before you die. So like this boy really thought that he was going to die, and he was fucking, it was child abuse, and it was being recorded and no one was stopping it. And a lot of people here in Sweden are trying to be like, well, he probably kicked that guard, or well, he probably did something to deserve it. And it's like a bunch of racist ass fucking Islamophobes are trying to defend child abuse because this little boy was not white. And if that does not tell you how fucking fucked up Sweden is right now, I do not know what to tell you. So I could say so much more, and I know I'm not really making any sense or, you know, pulling this all good together, but like, I'm just really upset that this is like the country that I live in, and I don't know, it's just so fucking annoying whenever I see someone trying to be like, oh, but Sweden, it's so good, like the Tumblr post that went around like, oh, in Sweden you get paid for going to school, that's so great and awesome, and they're like, yeah, but have you looked at our fucking, yeah, like, have you looked at the fucking racist cops we have? Like, have you looked at the police brutality? And, like, last year there was this huge thing that in the subway and train stations, the police could basically grab any person they wanted and be like, hey, show us your passport, or show us your, like, identification, and show us your papers. Like, show us that you are a Swedish citizen. And if you were not a Swedish citizen, they could basically, like, arrest you. Like, they were looking for immigrants. And you know what that actually means? It meant they were looking for brown and black people. Basically, like, no white person was stopped ever. They were racially profiling people in order to fucking get them, to send them out of the country. Like...
Welcome to America.
Yeah, Sweden though, like,
yeah,
like fucking shithole. It's what I'm saying. Like, Sweden is such a fucking shithole, and I fucking hate that I can't really do anything about it. Well,
you're gonna get snatched up.
Yeah, like,
Careful.
I know a lot of my friends who have like been fucking manhandled by police when demonstrating at like deportations and stuff. Like, I'm way too paranoid and scared for that, so I keep away from demonstrations, and I know that's a huge privilege, but whatever.
Right.
Like, it's just like so fucking scary, and like I shouldn't have to fear for my life walking home from a peaceful protest against racism. Like I shouldn't have to do that. Like because a lot of people, even supporters, like and you know people like me who like, hey, racism is bad. People can get fucking stabbed for saying that here. Like that's a thing. But yeah, that is my little presentation of Sweden is fucking awful. Don't come here.
Thank
Why
you
is
so much for
Sweden?
the information. Thank you.
I have a question though. Why is Sweden so racist?
Because everybody's white, obviously. Come on.
Well,
That's
like,
it? Like,
yeah, you know, AD, come on, you know, white people are awful. Don't try to play coy.
I never said
I'm
that.
the only white person here. You can,
Okay,
you
yeah, they're awful.
But yeah, I went over the modern history about it, but like generally in Europe, it's just so like I mean Swedes are racist toward Finns. Like we are racist towards Finnish people and Finn Swedes, and we are racist towards our own indigenous people. Like we are racist towards Sami people, and it's so fucking annoying. Like,
Okay.
and everyone here is just so Europe is very territorial. Europe is
Okay.
very territorial. Like every country has fucking suspicions about every other country. Like, it's a mess. Europe is not this romantic part of the world. It's this just horrible mess of white people who are entitled to fucking steal everything, basically. They're like, well, fucking, I was here first, so fucking give me this piece of land, you piece of shit. Like,
Okay.
that's European history for
That
you.
sounds like white people.
It does. Sounds
Yeah.
very that.
It really does.
That's how we are, white people. We are like, I
Well,
mean,
Americans
if
do the
I
same
ever
thing.
go to, I mean, if I'm ever like at a concert and stuff, I'm just gonna like push forward to the front of the
Yep,
stage and be
yep,
like, well, I
that's-
was fucking here first, like, fuck
Well,
off.
I'm white. Well, what you really say is like when they ask you like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "Well, but I'm white."
Yeah, but
What is the problem? I am white. Like.
like, how dare you? Like, I am
I
entitled
am
to this.
white.
Yeah. Do you know who
Excuse
you're
me,
talking to now?
excuse me, ma'am, sir, are you blind? Can't you see this? Can't you see how fucking gay I am? Please.
Can't you see? Can't you tell? What the hell?
But yeah, any questions?
You answered my question. I hate I didn't hear the whole thing, but
Oh,
wait, do they have?
I just
what?
Do they have black people in Sweden?
There is
Oh, of course we do. Like, we have a lot of immigrants. That's why the Sweden Democrats are so fucking pissed. But like,
Enough to where if
And-
I went out every day, I would see one.
probably not.
I mean, it kind of depends where you live. Like, I live in a pretty big town, and you know, if I go outside, I see people of color and black people. Like, I do because I live really close to like the inner city too. But like, I know people who grew up in like teeny tiny towns of like 2,000 people total, and who are like, well, everyone knows each other, and you know, basically the same places where like, oh, if you're gay, you have to get the fuck out of there because people will fucking kill you. Like,
Oh.
we still have those places. So, yay, Sweden! Woo!
that is so
Yes.
yes, it's word.
Sweden.
What did you say?
Oh, is it titty bounces for Sweden?
Yes.
For Sweden exclusively.
Yes.
Mhm.
No one else is entitled to this.
But that's what
Nobody.
my husband and I were talking about the other day. We were just talking about just how when I talk about racism, I talk about racism in America, and a lot of people get on my Facebook and they go all like, but over here and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, hold up, I'm talking about one place in particular because I have experiences in this place. Like I can't really talk about another place.
Okay.
And they, like went into like because I have friends from all over the world. I have like just a bunch of friends that are just different people. I like to surround myself by different with different cultures and different experiences and stuff. I've always been like that. And I get reports about like Sweden and like one of my good friends, he just got married, and he lives in the Netherlands, and he's like, come to the Netherlands, but be careful. And I'm like, that's not really inviting, dude. Like you can't tell me come to the Netherlands, but be careful. Like that's not like a selling point to actually visit Amsterdam and The Hague and stuff like that. Like that's not cool. But I hear like in parts of Europe. Especially in the Scandinavian countries and like places like the Netherlands, like isolated countries that like are very, very phenotypically the same. They have a lot of hatred towards like immigrants and like people that don't look like them, which kind of in my head it kind of makes sense because so does Asia to a certain extent. You have people that are very very heterogeneous in that area, and they're scared of foreigners and stuff like that. So it totally makes sense that what Zeal is saying is totally true because I believe it. Like, there's not a part of it that I don't believe that it happens like that, but it's still kind of shitty. Like, it's real shitty. You would think that these places that are like, socialist paradises would be all inclusive. They're really not.
Yeah, and it's just like I also see like right now after that Sweden Tumblr post kind of died down. There's this like new one that's going around that's like Finland is the greatest country ever, and it's basically just like da 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 da, like kids get paid for going to school, like they have a youth parliament, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, just talk to anyone who lives in Finland and know like basically Finland and Sweden have a really complicated history, but basically Sweden owned Finland, and it was like, you can have your fucking country back, but just you have to speak Swedish. Like that was the thing. So a lot of Finnish people are really prejudiced against Finn Swedes. That means like Finnish people who were taught Swedish at birth. Like my dad is a Finn Swede, and like his first language is Swedish, but he was raised in Finland, and like nowadays a lot of people in Finland who choose to speak Swedish are treated like what the fuck are you doing? That's stupid, blah blah blah, and their biggest racist party is very prejudiced against Finn Swedes, but of course also Muslims and Jews and fucking everyone else. So it's all sunshine and roses.
Girl, you sound like you need to move.
Where are you gonna move?
Where the fuck am I supposed to move, bitch? Like.
Oh my god, I was kidding.
Am I supposed to move to America?
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I would highly suggest against that. Well, yeah. I don't know. If you live in the part of the country where Kat lives, it's not shit like that happening. But
I mean, Orange County.
Yeah.
Don't you mean a very diverse neighborhood?
A very diverse neighborhood. A very diverse neighborhood.
Well, isn't Orange County like primarily white?
Yes, and I hate it.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is. It's actually like really terrible.
But it's not ghetto, so.
No, it's safe and it's like fine and like okay, blah blah. But I have to go to Long Beach if I want to get anything with my hair. So.
Oh, girl. I know that struggle.
That's just not cute.
Yeah, I know that struggle.
Like, we had to go all the way to Long Beach for me to get my hair for my braids. Like,
They don't even have a Sally's? They don't got a Sally's or a Coco?
Girl, and if they did have a Sally's, there would be no there would be no black things.
Okay, you're right.
I mean, girl, I went to Walgreens yesterday, and they barely had the foundation that was my color. I was like, they just straight up don't even stock it. Like,
they don't even order it. They're like, oh, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah. No one's
way
black
too dark.
here.
No.
color. Like,
but Kat, don't you know how hard it is for people like me? Like, I'm so pale that whenever I go to the store here in Sweden to buy foundation, all the really pale ones are sold out. Like, I can't find any foundation in my color. Like, it's so hard.
it's so hard for me. There's no makeup that's like made for my face. Like,
None.
life is just a
None.
struggle, a constant struggle.
Every day,
Yeah.
every day, every day.
Every day. You know, it's hard being white. All the racism in America.
I don't feel safe.
I really
frankly
don't.
don't feel safe.
I just don't. You know, I feel threatened. It's just not comfortable for me. I would like to be able to feel like I did feel safe, but the truth of the matter is that I don't. I don't.
Because you're not. To be
Mhm.
honest, you're not
To be
safe.
completely honest.
You know, no tea, no shade. You know, white people just are not safe.
They're just not. They just are not.
They never were.
Hmm All the racism and oppression of the white people of America, of the
Right.
United States.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm
That's real. That's real.
That is real. Praise God.
Let me check the comments.
Wait, are we live or no?
Bitch, yes, we are live.
You on air, girl?
It says it says on air in the corner, so I didn't think you were live.
Well, I see a big yellow sign that says live. It says live.
We believe.
I was just thinking, AJ, like, oh, she's doing her makeup live? Like, you do you, girl. Like,
Well, fuck it. Yeah, just put on some silver lipstick, bitch. What about it?
Yes, it's futuristic. And what? And what? What about it?
That is real.
Oh, God.
I'll do comments. I think that it's updating properly. You know how comment tracker is fucking awful. Anyway, DD Doc says, yeah, it's live.
They're always saying it's live. I love it.
Yeah, it's good to constantly have this like it's good to have this constant thing. Like we know it's a show when DD Doc is here to tell us that it's a show.
Right.
And here also DD Doc says, it's pretty normal for a liberal society to have some extremist parties on the left and the right fringe. I fail to see why this should be any different in Sweden. Well, it's mainly because the extremist parties on the right have become very, very, very frequent the past like 5 years, and they've grown in popularity. The leftist parties have not. And, you know, it's just scary because the mainstream liberal parties are buying into the like extreme you know, Nazi and fascist views that they have, and you know, that's kind of awful. So
What?
yeah.
I blame French for that a little bit. No hate to the French people watching, if there are any. But Sarkozy and his administration were very, very anti-Islamic and very anti-Muslim. And I don't know, from what I understand, that started like a resurgence of anti-immigration and anti-Muslim sentiment in, like, you know, the Western European world. So I kind of blame Sarkozy for all of that mess, because he was the one. Didn't he like pass that law where you couldn't have a head covering or anything in France? You could get stopped and arrested and stuff. Like, you couldn't even wear a hoodie on your head, and it was basically directed towards people of the Muslim faith that were wearing hijabs and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it was ugly. It was real ugly. I'm so glad he's out of office. I'm not even French, but
I'm glad about it.
I'm glad about it.
I mean, praise God for that.
Praise God for that. So what has already been talked about? Because I have a topic, but you probably already talked about it.
Girl, jump into the topic. We haven't really talked about when we talked about. I mean, this was like the first topic, so get into it.
Okay. Well,
Also, welcome to the panel, you late ragged bitch. I had to say it. I had to say it.
You come on the show, AJ. You come on the show when you're like, "Oh, we're live." Like, don't try to act like you're not late, bitch. Like,
No, because no, bitch. The shit said off air, so I'm like, oh, okay, cow, eat my chicken, eat my chicken, eat my chicken. And now that it's known that it is live, the shit is fucking yellow now. So I don't know what y'all did. I don't know why y'all did it. But I would need to stop.
I love your camera right now because it's like literally everything is blurry but your face. Your face is like in perfect like focus, but everything else is blurry. It's definitely an aesthetic. It's definitely an aesthetic.
It's a
focus.
Yeah, it's very soft glow. It's very glowy on that aspect too.
Well, good. You know, that's basically how I look on a day-to-day, you know.
Yeah, everything is blurry but your face. Yeah, it makes sense. Your face is defined.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Oh my gosh, you're so retarded. Okay, here we go. So, wait a minute. Let me find it. Let me find the article.
Oh my God, AJ.
Unprepared. Late.
I'm just always like, every time you have a topic, you're like, oh wait, I just gotta wait. Hold on, let me. Oh my God, wait.
and then the topic never happens.
Yeah.
It happened last week.
Not to my memory. Anyway, what is your topic?
Okay. Oh yes, my topic is this article that I read on Ty Underwood.
Who?
Ty Underwood, transgender.
Oh, get into it. Yeah.
Okay. Texas football player murders girlfriend after finding out she's, and this is the gag. I'm kind of hesitant to read it. It's not very long, but I'm hesitant
to read it.
Because it's, got it. Okay.
I mean, it's problematic. That's why you need to read it. Like.
Okay. Texas football player murders girlfriend after finding out she is a man. A Longview man has been arrested for the murder of Tyrone Underwood. Like, they fucking dog her out. Carlton Ray Champion Jr. was arrested January 29th for a probation violation, but was the prime suspect on the onset of the investigation, according to the official affidavit. On the 26th, officers found Underwood, 24, of Tyler dead in his vehicle from multiple gunshot wounds on the 400 block of West 24th Street. Early interviews with people who knew Underwood revealed the two men had been seeing each other for several weeks.
Gag.
I know. It's
so cunning, but keep going.
Okay. According to an affidavit filed in support of the murder arrest warrant, Carlton Ray Champion Jr. became a suspect after Ty Underwood's roommate, Kendrick Darks, told police Underwood had been dating a man named Carlton for several weeks prior to her death. And now they changed back. I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Our news partners are reporting that although Darks had no details on the man, a police department employee who knew Underwood said the man played football at Texas College. It was at that point that investigators connected the dots and confirmed that Champion, in fact, played football for the school. After, this is a quote, after reading the text between Champion Jr. and Underwood, it was clear that the two have had sexual relations with each other, one detective wrote. One of the detectives interviewed Champion's father and wrote, Champion's father stated that Carlton Jr. was meeting Underwood and thought Underwood was a female. According to Champion's father, Carlton Jr. was supposed to get some type of sexual favor from Underwood, but realized Underwood was a male. End of interview. And so basically this fool went and shot her multiple times.
Wow.
In her car.
And I heard about that.
I posted this on my Facebook, and it started quite the diatribe.
You know, can I just say, like, this isn't like, I don't like to compare or like conflate people's situations, but it's very interesting, and I think it's worth thinking about. Oh my God, I'm overheating. Oh my God, no. No! Oh my God,
you are not.
No, I can't. No, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
What happened?
She overheated.
Well,
No, she actually did probably overheat.
now we have to pray that the show won't die until she comes back.
Right. Well, hopefully
Um,
she has the wherewithal to take her phone out and do it from there.
yeah.
But have I talked to you before, Julio? Is that your name?
No, I'm
Julio?
brand new.
This is the first time Julio is on the show.
Oh, hello. Oh, he's a cutie. Hey.
He's
All
a
right.
married man, you horny fuck.
Girl.
Just because. Thank you for the compliment.
I love to see attractive people of color.
I am that. I'm very, very attractive. So.
What? Wow. What is your ethnic background?
Oh God, not this again.
No, I have to ask because it's not obvious.
Are you ready? You want to write? You might want to write this down.
I'll remember.
Cuban, Chilean, Puerto Rican, Black, Irish, and Israeli.
Okay.
I am Afro-Latino. I was born in Cuba, and I moved to America when I was 4. My mom is Black, white, and Puerto Rican, and my dad.
So both of your parents are multi-ethnic?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Nigga, that's all you had to say. That's all you had to say.
Hey, what do you call ethnic makeup? So I gave you the makeup.
Okay.
I just put it all
Right.
up.
Right. A simple beat. Nothing too complex. Nothing too major.
No, but it's interesting, your article. It's like, one, they misgendered her.
Up and down, over through.
About misgendering her. And then it's like, it doesn't really give too much information, and maybe they don't have a lot of information. It raises questions for me because it's kind of like, okay, if they were in a sexual relationship, there had to have come a point
where he knew. And like, let me show. Okay, this is gonna be so shady, but I have to show you the article and the people that we're talking about right now. And it's like, you didn't know?
I had to learn comments, but I'll read these. But it's just interesting because, like, I mean, people that have transitioned, that I don't know how to say this without coming off like transphobic, but there are people that have transitioned that I would never have known if they went through transition, right?
If they hadn't said anything.
If they hadn't said anything, I would have been like for instance, I mean, this sounds so shady, but Kat, I thought Kat was
cis. Most people do.
I did. I had no idea, and I started watching her videos, and then here pops up about her being, going through transition and stuff. I'm like, oh shit, I had no idea. Didn't care, but it's like, oh shit, whatever.
Right.
Like, how do you get into a relationship? I mean, there are stages of the transition, before and after, that people are in. So like, for me, I'm trying to figure out like where in the stage this girl was, because it could have been obvious, it could not have been obvious, but at the same time, I feel like most trans people, when they get into an actual serious relationship, they tell people like, hey, I don't want to bring you up.
No, they don't.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh God.
Julio, you poor innocent soul.
I'm uninformed. Let me know.
Well.
Shut your cis mouth up. I'm going to be very cisphobic right now and tell you to sit down.
Zeal's got this. Zeal, take it.
Anti-trans, anti-homo. I'm just a terrible male.
Well, here's the thing.
No, this is not about hating gay men, Julio. Let's shut the fuck up.
But no, explain it to me. Like, I mean,
Here's the thing. Like, there's a complex, from my experience, there's a complex in the trans woman arena that makes it okay that if you are not visibly trans, that you can get into these kind of situations, and not tell your tea until later, or if at all,
Okay.
So, I mean, of course, that is a privilege that's not afforded to people who, are visibly trans, more visibly trans. But, stealth dating is something that a lot of girls, the girls who can do it, have done it. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying?
That makes
Like,
sense.
yeah, but at the same time, it's very dangerous because situations like this are prevalent. You know, um, I don't like talking. I don't like really talk about it too much because I've stealth dated before, like at first, but I learned quickly. I'm like, I'm not trying to end up in a garbage can.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, I don't want to.
No.
I wouldn't want to do it to myself, but yes, it happens a lot, and a lot of the trans murders that happen are because of situations like that, where the person doesn't know.